Hey there, my name is Pravus, and welcome back to more oxygen not included in the Super Duper Grouper base. In the last video, we made a few little efficiency improvements that hopefully will pay off a lot more in the long term. Examples would include making better use of our polluted water. We're going to have a germ-free setup and then start sending that into the water tank. We also are using warmer water in our electrolyzer, thanks to all this extra water that's built up around the cool steam vent, so we are going to save ourselves a lot of thermal energy by not using our nice cool water and instead using the warm stuff since it's going to get warmed up anyway. Once this eventually does get drained out and we start seeing the temperature spike up above 70 degrees, I'm going to have to rework this system, but since we have many tons of water sitting at 60-ish degrees, we've got some time on this, so we'll take advantage of it. We're also using some conveyor belts to slow down some running time, and I'm going to try this water setup over here. I really don't know if this is going to work. My hope here is that basically we can cool this water down to something very low, like let's say, I don't know, 20 degrees or less, and then run things through it, and this water is going to be a much more effective way of absorbing the heat out of our metal refinery, so we can send that water right back up and continue using this, because right now there's a lot of downtime between the metal refinery. This anti-entropy thermal nullifier is cool in theory, but because we are reliant on using hydrogen gas as our medium between the heat and the, well, heat suckage, the result is, once you get some water through here, it may have been like minus, 20 degrees, and then it spikes up to 80, and it takes forever to cool this back down. So there's just way too much downtime. We'll use this to consistently try to cool down this water tank right here. And it's going to take a very long time because obviously the mass density and specific heat capacity of polluted water is greatly higher than hydrogen. But once it does get down to temperature, we might be able to make better use of it. So let's try it and see if it works. If not, then I may have to just kind of resort to using the anti-entropy thermal nullifier exclusively for the purpose of cooling down simple gases, like providing some cool air for the base. And then we'll have to come up with something better for the metal refinery than this, because it's just not going to cut it right now. Question, have I researched the critter trap yet? Because I don't know if I have. No, I have, actually. Okay, critter control. Okay. Well, let's deconstruct this manual generator. We haven't needed that for a very long time. And if we can get the critter trap, this does take some plastic, and it's consumed on use, but we can capture the slickster and move it elsewhere. And we already caught it. That took practically no time at all. Beautiful. So yeah, Slickster larva is going to be sent down over this direction, and we are now good to go. Perfect. Okay, so that worked out fine. So what do I want to work on today? Answer, it is time for transit tubes. Definitely time for transit tubes. We are sitting on almost 10 tons of plastic. That means I definitely can finally start sending some networks pretty much to all the faraway points that I want to use. But if we're going to do that, there's a couple little changes I want to make. Basically, I want it to be if you are in the main base, you can walk around normally, but the second you leave the base, for anything, pretty much at all, I expect you to be in an exosuit. So what I'm kind of envisioning in my head is a sort of grand central station, right? We use like this location, for example, over here, a wall of exosuits, and then you just hop into the transit, and it can take you pretty much anywhere outside the base you want to go. We're going to have a drop-off point down over here by the ice biome, since this is a common working area. We'll have to have something down over here as well, which, by the way, is no longer working because the gas pressure is too dang high. Of course it is. Right, we'll worry about that later. And we're going to have a lot more transit points in the future. I'll still end up having a water lock in case we need somebody to just kind of manually leave, and that ends up being a faster solution anyway, but that's something I want to do. I also think it's time to go ahead and start mining out the entirety of the planetoid, which is going to take a very long time. But this is something that a lot of players end up doing. They basically just mine out everything and have a huge system of ladders and scaffolds and stuff to get people around. And I've hated the look of that. That's why I've kind of avoided it, but at the same time, I'm getting really annoyed with how long it's taking for people to just climb over everything. It'd be faster just to have a whole load of ladders. Also, I'm tired of getting overpressurized gas. Let's just mine all the nonsense out, and then there's going to be plenty of room for gases to move around, so we don't get overpressurized so often. Right? I don't know. I just don't like the look of it. It feels so unnatural, but I kind of recognize at this point it seems like it's kind of necessary. Oh, there he goes, little Slickster larva's down here in his tiny little container. He's already given us a little bit of crude oil. About how much? Let's see, about 138 grams there. 400, yeah, about 600, 700 grams of crude oil. Get a whole bunch of these Slicksters up and running, feed them plenty of carbon dioxide. You'll get a few kilograms of oil, here and there. which is not an absolute ton, considering the density of the oil is pretty high, but, I mean, hey, a renewable source that I don't have to constantly be mining down over here, that could be useful someday. Oh, and since we have an excess of some thimble reed, a little thing I can do just to make this a little bit nicer, let's place down some carpeted tile using some of these reed fibers. It's going to boost up the decor a little bit, but also I believe it gives these guys a small little modifier. I don't remember exactly what it's called. It's like tickled toesies or tootsies or something like that, which should make them just a little bit happier. I think it reduces their stress gain for a chunk of the day. And you're supposed to, like, walk over the carpet for a certain number of seconds to get the modifier, but I'm pretty sure if you sleep on a cot over the carpet, it still gives it to you. So we'll go ahead and just use some of the reed fibers for that. I got plenty. Something I need to keep an eye on is dormancy for these gold volcanoes down here, because that's going to be my window of opportunity to finally tame these things. So this one is idle right now. This one up over here actually is dormant. Okay. Ooh. I wasn't planning on working on this today, but I have no idea how long it's going to be dormant. Alright, we probably do want to actually start planning this out. I've got some ceramic tile, not nearly enough though. We need to start processing a lot of ceramic, and soon. And we need to actually start getting this thing insulated and analyzed before it erupts. Because if we want to get this thing working, it's going to take a fairly compressed chamber with a steam turbine to absorb a lot of heat out here, and I need to have all of that set up before it even erupts again, before it goes back out of its dormancy phase. Otherwise, if we have not completed it by that time, it's borderline impossible to complete, and we're going to release an unbelievable amount of heat into the base. Hey, what happened to my slickster larva? Did it die or did it escape? I actually have no idea. Anyone eat any Slickster barbecue recently? Anyone want to fess up? I mean, I know that thing looked delicious, but like, yeah, that thing literally lasted for like very little time and then it just died. I don't understand why, because I don't think any of the environments were toxic, but okay. Well, rip me, I guess. By the way, the chlorine setup over here does appear to be working now that I've given it a chance to go through its thing. So it is dumping in some water with germs, but only small packets can arrive at a time, so it's killing them off pretty quickly. By the time it gets down to the second tank, there's not a lot left, and by the time it gets to the third, they are all very, very dead. So, yeah, all that automation I was trying to do last time, totally irrelevant. We are absolutely fine. 3 reservoirs and a chlorine chamber with a germ sensor just for safety, apparently is all you need. Good lord, I wasted so much time on this stupid thing. Something new that's happening that I really can't explain. For some reason, people are kind of refusing to deliver any of the Atmos suits to their docks, so I've only had one for a while, which of course means that nothing's happening down over here. I'm having to literally set this to yellow alert to force someone to come and deliver it. It doesn't matter if I've got this stuff set to a relatively high priority. It doesn't matter if I've got a lot of suits. Either that means I have way too many tasks queued up that are a higher priority than simply delivering something, or these guys are just a bunch of idiots for some reason. Okay, we finally have enough refined material that I can build up a transit access tube, which we're gonna go ahead and do probably now here. Now, this does require power at the transit tube itself, and I'm pretty sure every tube returning to the main transit also will require power, which is going to become kind of annoying because it takes like 400-something watts. It says 960. I thought it was like 400, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Either way, the idea, though, is we're probably going to have a cold generator and a smart battery at every location. So I need a lot more refined material for every location where I want to actually drop people off. But if we can get this sucker set up, it's time to go ahead and start worrying about some transit tubes. So let's go ahead and start planning these out. This is going to take a while to set up. Shadow, why are you carrying around a balloon? I mean, it's a very beautiful balloon, I don't deny. What's this? Balloon Buddy? Wow! Holy crud, super crafty. Creativity, science, cuisine, medicine, agriculture, and husbandry goes up by 8. It's a shame that Shadow's primarily my mole person, a digger. Not very creative at all, really. But, yeah, I mean, I'm happy for you there. That's a very nice red balloon. Okay, maybe I'm crazy, but this should be the first round of transit tubes that is now active. If we want to go ahead and enable this building, actually, I'll leave it disabled for a second while I clear out some debris, but the idea is pretty straightforward. You grab a suit, you hop in over here, it transports you down here much faster than you could walk on your own, You go do what you want to do, then you hop back on and whoosh. Actually, that person just took a transit tube without even using an exosuit. Never mind, they're already making use of it. Well, yeah, this is definitely faster then. I'm a little worried they're accidentally going to drop off suits in dumb locations and not where I intended them to go, but I'm pretty sure they're supposed to go back to the same Atmo checkpoint they had before, so I think that's fine. Only problem with this setup is it does require a lot of power at a time when I'm out of natural gas, like completely out of natural gas. So once again, we are dependent on our coal, but I do have like 60 tons of coal, which is going to help a fair bit. I also plan on setting up my transit tubes to go down over here because as of right now, it takes so long to get here that people can't hold their breath long enough to survive it. So that's not going to be an option for us. In fact, we were wasting a whole lot of time with people trying to go down that direction. Now, I don't think we can cross any of these ladders, so we'll have to get rid of these. And I'm trying to free up some space for a nice straight tube to make this a little bit more sensible. But yeah, okay, so this is going to change things. Still have a long way to go as far as getting it all set up, but this is definitely going to change things. Oh boy, do I want to take on another dupe right now. I'm a little worried that we're going to start having some issues on food and just overall oxygen consumption pretty soon, but for now we're okay. Someone who could be a backup cook and then also have some more construction is actually very useful to me right now. Don't care too much about the grease monkey trait, though it could be helpful, and it's not a bad thing. Germ resistance, can't do digging sucks. But otherwise, it's not the worst thing in the world. Alright, we're gonna commit to it. Why not? More dupes. It's Gut Hook! Welcome, Gut Hook! And what are Gut Hook's jobs gonna be? Pretty straightforward. Mostly building. If not that, maybe do some backup cooking so we can free up Bad Burrito just a little bit. Although, now it occurs to me, I'm not sure you have the skills you need in order to make use of... Where are you? There you are. Yeah, you don't have the grilling skill yet. We'll have to give that to you later. So for now, just construction, but that's fine. We desperately need more building capacity anyway. Something crazy to me about this setup down over here is it sure as heck looks like we have already heated up these liquid reservoirs way faster than I thought I was going to. I mean, I guess it's now cycle 291, so his videos are getting longer and longer, but man, I feel like we lasted a much longer time with this. Okay, well, in order to continue cooling the base down properly, we'll go ahead and have to disconnect some of these networks and reconnect a few different things here and there, but, yeah, that is a thing. I really do need to get an evacuation set up for this at some point. Warm water? Dump it. Because we have actually a load of polluted water down here at a pretty low temperature, and I'm using up my polluted water really quickly all of a sudden, now that we are refining this stuff in earnest. It's really starting to make a big difference. I mean, the water pool's going up. Like, this is working out great. This is exactly what I want to see, but yeah. We need to start filling this sucker back up. The cool slush geyser is one obvious way to do that. Alternatively, we just have to go through and start pumping up all these water pools. And there is no shortage of freaking polluted water on this map. That's freaking everywhere. But pumping it around's gonna be a pain. A total, absolute 100% pain. One thing that's really sad, though, look at poor Gut Hook walking around in this suit. Herp-dee-derp-a-dee-derp-dee-derp-dee-derp. He's just so slow. That's the problem with these exosuits, man. They reduce your athletic skill by so much that unless you've had a chance to really get around and start building up a bit of endurance training, yeah, these guys, they can barely handle these things. To an extent, I should probably actually say that, you know what, Gut Hook, you're, like, forbidden for going outside of the base. Probably, except I actually still need the construction skill, so it wouldn't make much sense to do that. How's the gold volcano doing over here? It's still dormant? Okay. We've almost got enough ceramic that I've been able to fully insulate the area around the volcano. And the reason I'm using ceramic is it's actually one of the best insulators in the game, and it can handle a pretty darn high temperature. So that's why I'm going for that. I'm leaving a little bit of space in here because what I'd like to do, and I'll go over this in a lot more detail later, don't you worry. But what I'd like to do is actually leave enough space for some automation, namely some conveyor belts and some auto sweepers, to pick up the gold as it is getting produced by the volcano and start trying to cool it off and then send it somewhere else. So a little bit of space over here is necessary, and then up over here is going to end up being one of those steam turbines. But yeah, this is, oh boy, this is gonna take a long time to get properly set up. Don't worry though, I'll go into a lot more detail on that later. Just understand we're gonna need to have things like, hydrogen chamber up over here. We're gonna need to pump this out into mostly a vacuum. We need to dump a whole lot of water into this chamber. Yeah, it just goes on and on. It's a lot, man. It is a lot. Oh, what the heck happened over here? I accidentally somehow unleashed salt water. Oh, for God's sake. All right, so now not only do I have oil mixing with water, I've also got salt water in on the picture. Yeah, that was sloppy. That's not exactly what I had in mind, but okay. Goal is very straightforward. Place down a transit tube access point right over here. Finish up this network, which, by the way, is sitting around another gold volcano. Got to be very careful about that. Might need to move some of this stuff later, depending on how this works out, but we will see. Actually, oh, wait. I probably could have... Ooh, wait. I probably could figure this out right now. We should probably do that. Let me future-proof this for a second. We need to have, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to have a tile here. This is where the turbine's going to be. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is where it's going to get locked up. Yes, okay. So, actually, we do need to make sure that our transit tubes are going up this way. There we go. That's what we're shooting for. We seem to have run into a fun little loop over here, by the way. These guys have nothing to do, so they're all hanging out, picking up the eggs and dropping it into the automatic dispenser I left over here. Pretty funny. I didn't... The reason I had an automatic dispenser over here is because if you leave eggs inside of a container, then their viability goes down and they're going to die. So you want to leave them out in an atmosphere. So that's kind of why we did that. But obviously, I don't want to run into a weird loop where they just keep dumping things over here. I've had the same thing happen actually with polluted ice. They run down here, pick it up, drop it off, and then just keep going back and forth and back and forth. It's kind of weird. I wish there was a, like, forbid sweeping option sometimes, but there you go. Ooh, minor problem I just uncovered. As we've been pumping some heat gradually into this base, it looks like a lot of water has been melting, and it actually drowned out the wheezeworts that I had placed over here, so we're no longer generating any radiation. Which doesn't matter all that much in the sense that I don't have a lot of research I need to do that requires radiation as of yet, but if we ever changed our mind on that, we're going to want to have these wheezeworts back. Best thing I can do right now, just plant down like a planter box or two, let the wheezeworts grow once again, and then we'll be set. Ah, dang it, we also missed our window for this gold volcano. It's no longer dormant. Good thing I didn't dig this all out. Yeah, it's set to idle now. Alright, well, when that does come up and running, we'll be ready to go, and this one's still idle as well. Let's keep an eye on this sucker, because this is probably going to go dormant next, most likely. Which means everything I've already been doing up over here, we'll also need to go ahead and start doing all over here. Hooray! What the crud is this? Sticker bombs? Huh? Surprise decor sneak attacks duplicants gloomy day. Decor. This is like one of the worst places you could possibly do it, but someone just threw a whole load of stickers. Not even on the wall. This is just like open space. Okay. Well, I guess that means that some people are getting happy in the base. Saw someone else singing earlier, so morale appears to be up. Wasn't planning on that, but that's nice. It's Red Velvet Kitty who's happy. Aw, you're running around and singing to people. Honestly, it's probably because your skill points have not been spent very much, so your morale expectations are greatly higher than what you actually need. Which is kind of hilarious, actually. Alright, let's go ahead and actually give you some better skills. We should have done that a while ago. Sorry! I'm running into what might be a small bug over here, and I don't have time to fix it, unfortunately, because I have to be wrapping this episode up. I can't get power over here to the transit tube, and it's also saying it's not connected to a tube, which it absolutely is, because I know people can arrive here, they just can't leave. Now, the insufficient power is weird because it's hooked up to a source of power, heavy watt wire, so power should be able to be delivered. And just in case I'm not producing enough watts, I started a second coal generator, which for some reason, no one is willing to deliver coal to. Even though I'm pretty sure the fuel request threshold should be fine here, no one is willing to do it, and I have coal literally right here. So this whole there's no coal around thing is absolutely nonsense. So I'm not sure what's going on here. There might be some sort of a calculation or priority error, or maybe the game's been running for too long and I just need a reset. Regardless, once I get this figured out, we've got our transit tube down over here, which means all of this gets a heck of a lot easier to manage. No, okay, I got it working. So, yeah, it turns out that the game needed to be reloaded. This was bugged out. I guess I've been playing for too long, and that's probably my sign that I need to be quitting. But okay, we have transit tubes now leading toward a couple of key work areas, especially one very far away from the base, which I'll be able to use to speed things up immensely. Transit tubes, you know, they're not necessarily the fastest when it comes to moving laterally or even going down, but going up, oh, that's what saves you a freaking ton of time. Next thing to do is probably to go ahead and build one up over this direction as well, close to the surface of the planetoid, because I'm thinking very soon, maybe next video, we need to start digging away some of this regolith and see if we can start setting out a telescope and discover the other planetoids around us. At the very least, that would give me some idea of what I'll need to work toward in the future. But for now, I think this is going to have to be a good place for me to end this video. 3 hours of recording. Yikes. Doesn't feel like we did nearly as much for 3 hours as you would like, but we got there. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, I'd ask to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.